Right now, if you collapsed on a busy street, surrounded by people, the odds of someone helping you are lower than if you collapsed alone. That's not a theory. That's been proven over and over again. And the more people around you, the worse your chances get. This is the bystander effect, and once you understand it, you'll never think about crowds the same way. March 13th, 1964, Queens, New York, 3 a.m. A 28-year-old woman named Kitty Genovese finishes her shift at a bar and walks home. Normal street, normal night, except a man named Winston Mosley has been following her. He attacks her with a hunting knife outside her apartment building. She screams, lights flick on in windows above her. Neighbors peer out into the dark. And then the lights go back off. Mosley runs away after someone shouts from a window, then comes back, attacks her again. She dies that night, a few feet from her front door. A few weeks later, the New York Times runs a story that stops the country cold. 38 people heard or saw the attack, not one called the police. America is furious. What kind of monsters live in this city? What is wrong with people? Two psychologists named Bibb Latané and Darley ask a different question. What if it's not about the people? What if it's about the crowd? They run an experiment, simple setup. A person sits alone in a room filling out a survey. Then smoke starts pouring in under the door. Alone in the room, people remoted the smoke within 5 seconds, every time. But when other people were in the room, secretly in on the experiment, sitting completely calm, the subject would just sit there, coughing, waving smoke away, looking around, doing nothing for up to 6 minutes. 6 minutes in a smoke-filled room because everyone else looked unbothered. Darley and Latané called it the bystander effect. It runs on two mechanisms, and both of them are happening in your brain right now in ways you can't feel. The first is diffusion of responsibility. When you're alone and someone needs help, it's on you, that's clear. But put 10 people in the same situation and the responsibility gets divided by 10. Everyone assumes someone else will step up. Nobody does. Is it cruelty? No, it's arithmetic your brain runs automatically without asking you. The second mechanism is pluralistic ignorance. In an unfamiliar situation, humans look to other people to figure out how to react. It's a survival shortcut. If everyone around you looks calm, your brain concludes this probably isn't an emergency. Even when it is. Even when every single person around you is doing the exact same thing, looking at others, reading the room, thinking the exact same thought. You're all performing calm for each other while the situation gets worse. Now here's where the story gets complicated. Those 38 witnesses who watched and did nothing, decades later, journalists and researchers went back through the police records and tracked down the people who were actually there that night. The picture was messier than the headline. Some neighbors did call the police. One woman, Sophia Farrar, ran downstairs and held Kitty in her arms as she died. The attack happened in multiple stages, in different locations, in the dark, making it genuinely difficult for witnesses to understand what was happening. And in 1964, there was no 911. You had to know which police precinct to call. The New York Times got the story wrong, exaggerated by a journalist, printed on the front page, and absorbed by a country that needed a simple explanation for something this horrifying. 38 passive witnesses. It was a cleaner story than the truth. But here's the part that keeps this from just being a media criticism story. Darley and Latané ran their experiments because of what the Times reported. The science was built on a myth. And yet, the science held up. Every experiment confirmed it. The more bystanders present, the less likely any of them is to help. The story was wrong. The psychology it accidentally launched, that was completely real. Psychologist Harold Tacouchian replicated versions of these experiments through the 1970s and 80s, staging crimes in plain sight on New York streets. The results? They all held. In busy urban settings, people walked past. In quieter ones, they stopped. The crowd was the variable, not the people in it. This isn't a 1960s New York problem. It's happening on busy streets where someone looks unwell and everyone walks past, assuming someone else will check. It's happening in offices where everyone sees something wrong and nobody says anything because nobody else is saying anything. It's happening in comment sections where thousands of people watch something awful and assume someone else will report it. Does the crowd make you safer? No. It makes everyone around you less likely to act. But the research also tells you exactly how to break it. You don't shout someone call 911 into a crowd. That's the worst thing you can do. You pick one specific person. You point at them. You, in the red jacket, call an ambulance. You, call 911 right now. The moment responsibility lands on one person by name, the diffusion breaks. They almost always act. And knowing about the bystander effect makes you statistically less susceptible to it. People who understand the mechanism are more likely to override it. Which means, by the end of this video, you're already a little less likely to be one of the 38. So right now, if you collapsed on a busy street, surrounded by people, The most dangerous assumption in the crowd is that someone else will handle it.